Thanks, Gregor. Hi, Paul. An NHL.com stat went around today saying that your next game will equal your dad's games played total. I'm wondering if you've reflected on that. What does that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I think it's special. We've talked about it. I knew like going into this season, like that'd be like kind of a number I'd be able to hit. You know, you kind of always, I don't know, in the summertime when you're bored, you kind of look at milestones. But for me, like that's more of like a personal number because that's probably the only number I can beat him in stats wise. So just to like equal the same amount of games, I think just it's special, a special feeling for him, for me, and just for kind of the Stastny legacy.
We'll go next to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
Thanks, Gregor. Hi, Paul. Where do you think your Lions game is at coming out of that Oilers series?
Well, if you're looking at just plus minus, we're super negative. But no, like it was weird. Like sometimes, you know, I've been around the game long enough to go through spurts where things are going well, or you feel like you're playing well and things aren't going your way. And then you have times where everything's going your way and you're not playing well. And I feel as a line we're playing well, you know, and sometimes, you know, when you play against someone like McDavid, you don't give him too many chances, but he doesn't need that many chances to score. And then, you know, sometimes, you know, that's all you see and you reflect upon that. But that's how it is right now, but we just got to stick with it. And I think sometimes you'd rather, you know, be at fault for these goals. And sometimes they're good plays. Sometimes you're complete, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. But for us, I think it's kind of just focusing on, you know, playing the same way. And I think that, you know, things are going to start turning. And I think we just got to stick with it. And a lot of times when you are going through a stretch like this, it's easy to get down. It's easy to start playing super defensive and super cautious and super safe. But, you know, that's when you get more trouble. So for us, it's keep playing kind of aggressive. I think just keep talking to each other and like sticking with it. And whether it's things turn around today or next game, it's going to happen eventually. And we know that. And that's kind of the mindset we got.
We'll go next to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Paul, I know you haven't played a ton of wing, but how do you feel about remaining? How would you feel about remaining a winger now for the rest of the way?
Yeah, it's not bad. Like I said, it's nice because you know, take face-offs on my strong side. Shai takes my strong side. Like I said, I think there's times where, like I said, the only time I get confused sometimes is I think I'm more comfortable. Like if I've ever played a game on the wing, it'd be the right wing. So sometimes when I'm coming back in the D zone, you know, I come back on the wrong side. I kind of see where Wheels is, but it's funny because Wheels sometimes, like we're comfortable playing each other's wings. So every game's kind of been easier and easier. And sometimes the part I miss is sometimes in the D zone, you're kind of playing in your D and then it's easy, but you feel like you're not doing anything. You know, you're kind of like watching everything and you're not as involved. And as a centerman, sometimes you're a lot lower, more involved with the puck. But like I said, there'll be times where, you know, Shife's kind of deep in the O zone and I'm the first guy back and I can just play that situation. So that kind of transition has been pretty seamless.
Go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, Paul, in most of the matchups this year, you guys have been involved in a lot of one-run ball games, so to speak. And yet in this Vancouver series, more games than not have been decided by a 3-goal spread or more. Is there something different about this series that has lent itself to those kind of games happening, or did they just happen?
Yeah, no, I think that's just kind of just happened. You know, sometimes, I don't know, like, when I'm thinking of the last times we played them, I keep thinking they're always like kind of close games and, you know, maybe late in the game they get out of hand. Or I know the one time we played them early in the season was that 9 o'clock game. I think it was a back-to-back. They're all over us. They dominated. But they've always kind of been close games where you're never out of it, or you never think either team's out of it, you know? And so with two teams that have good power plays that both kind of like a lot of offensive power, you always got to be careful. And both teams have good goaltending. So at any time, you know, it could be a 1-1 game or it could be a 4-4 game, but you got to be ready for either way.
I'll go next to Mike McIntyre from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Mike.
Good afternoon, Paul. Just curious your thoughts as a guy who's been in this league a long time. Just the mindset of a team when you lose a star player, Elias Pettersson, in the case of the Canucks. He's missed 9 games. They've won 7 of them. You know, maybe it just speaks to hockey being such a team sport. You know, you take a star player out of an NBA roster, and I doubt you'd see something similar. So why is it in hockey that you can lose such a key player teams often rally around that.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I think it's such a team sport. And then all of a sudden, if you're missing a star player like that, an offensive player, everyone kind of, everyone's role changes a little bit. So everyone plays a little more, everyone plays a different role. So it seems like everyone doesn't, sometimes when you have certain star players, when you're not playing that same role or you're playing the missed role, sometimes you kind of rely on them a little too much, and sometimes when an injury like that, you realize you got to play more as a team. When you play more as a team, usually defensively you're better, usually your overall game's better, and so you're a lot tougher to play against. And that happens. And like I said, when you miss someone like that, obviously, yeah, they won 7 out of 9, but then you could also look at what Pettersson brings is anytime he's on the ice, a dynamic super like that can score at any time. So like you miss that, but the overall team game, I think everything tightens up a little bit, and you kind of see that structure kind of tighten up, and it's a lot tougher to play against teams like that. And obviously that's what they've done.
We'll go next to Sarah Lusky from TSN. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, Paul. I just wanted to go back to the game tonight with respect to tying your dad in terms of games played. And do you guys talk a lot of hockey at this point? Or is that something maybe you did earlier in your career, not as much now? How would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, we talk every couple of days. It's not, I mean, I feel like we talk a lot more mental side of hockey, because I think, I'm going through struggles or I'm doing good. I think he knows what I'm going through because he's been through it, or he's seen me go through it at different times in my career. I think more than anything, he's always kind of just keep tabs with our team. I think he's gotten to a point now later in my career, the last 5-6 years, where all he cares about is me winning. He just wants the team to win. But he's been good at, he always knows what to say to me at the right times. And then there's times where if I am not feeling it, if I'm a little low on confidence, I don't want to talk to anyone. Like, I feel like that's where he understands me the best, and he knows how to contact me and, like, I don't know, say the right thing somehow, some way. And that's where it's really good for me. And hockey wise, obviously we think the same. So a lot of times when I'm thinking stuff, I always kind of ask him just for assurance, just to make sure I'm on the right page. He sees it the way I see it. And then, I think for me, the biggest thing for obviously is having him as a dad, as a mentor, but it's kind of just that soundboard that a lot of guys don't have, that as I've gotten older, I've realized how lucky I am to have that.
And final question to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun.
Just wondering what Peter is telling Paul now with the stretch you're going through.
Yeah, like I said, I think, I mean, he'd rather us lose game 7-0 than lose games 2-1 or 3-2. Those 1-goal games are harder to lose sometimes. But at the same time, he knows that's how it is. I think sometimes when you're in, you get so caught up in small picture where it just takes one game to turn around. It takes one goal to turn things around. And I think it's all about kind of being positive and just sticking with it. Like I said, not cheating, not trying to find ways to make it easy. It's always going to be hard. And everyone goes through this. Every player, every team goes through this. And just stick with it, because I think when you're watching highlights, when you're watching the game, you're not getting dominated. You're not losing for lack of scoring chances. There are almost games where they can go either way. And early in the year you might win those, later in the year you might lose those, but everything kind of evens out.